Welcome to my capstone presentation. My name is Rebecca Retherford. In 2013, I graduated from UNCW with a degree in elementary education. I am currently in my 6th year of teaching at Wallace Elementary School. I have experience teaching 2nd, 4th, and 5th grade, and I am currently teaching 6th grade math. I believe all children are unique, and teachers should provide an environment promoting student growth physically, emotionally, mentally, and academically. Students should feel supported when sharing ideas and learn to effectively communicate with others. Teachers should hold high expectations for all students and assist students in developing a lifelong love for learning. I have enjoyed working through the Master of Education program at UNCW. I made connections with professors and fellow graduate students that will forever impact my teaching. I also developed a deeper understanding of various methods and ideas that I will use as I continue throughout my career. I have a love for the arts and believe Dr. Liao's arts integration across the curriculum and creative technologies courses were beneficial, as I am always trying to find ways to include arts in the classroom. As a math teacher, I often find it difficult to develop lessons including the arts. Our school has fully implemented a STEM missions lab, but I enjoyed learning more about STEAM and adding art into the mix. J.C. Maslick believes the shift from STEM to STEAM connects students to more rigorous content in more creative ways. One of our units in this course focused on using dance across the curriculum. My students enjoyed learning about different types of line dances while developing an understanding of the order of operations. As you can see, my students also had the opportunity to work with Google Classroom to build their technology skills. Through this experience, I learned that connections can be made between the classroom and the arts, and many students gain a stronger understanding through these connections. In Dr. Walker's Development of Language and Literacy course, we spent time exploring vocabulary in the classroom. As a math teacher, I was searching for ways to make connections between this course and my classroom. We spent some time exploring vocabulary. We often connect vocabulary with reading and language arts, yet vocabulary plays a large role in mathematics as well. Through some of our course readings, Patricia Cunningham and Richard Allington brought attention to teaching vocabulary using real things and helping students anchor words with specific experiences. I began thinking about ways I could use real things to help my students make connections in our math class. In the following semester, I was part of Dr. Hargrove's Advanced Study of Mathematics course, and while I experienced multiple significant learning events through this course, I was able to make connections with our vocabulary discussions from my Language and Literacy course. Julie Jackson, Erin Wise, Kendall Zerbican, and Nancy Gardner explored the difference between traditional word walls and interactive word walls. I discovered that interactive word walls display graphic organizers, tables, and diagrams while highlighting connections between concepts. After exploring their research, as well as others, I chose to implement an interactive word wall in my classroom. Students assist in the construction of the word walls and use concepts to enhance their learning and discovery. Another significant learning experience occurred while completing my action research project in Dr. Buchanan's Action Research for Elementary Educators course. Not only did I discover the benefits of using the process of action research, but I also discovered the benefits of using students as small group math leaders within my classroom. I have often struggled with meeting the needs of all of my students. Using the action research project, I explored using students in my classroom to guide small groups. Student math guides were chosen based on student assessments. Student math guides trained and planned small group lessons with me. After proper preparation, student guides led small group lessons with their lower level peers. Through this process, I discovered a new way I could use my students who have mastered skills to assist me in reaching lower level students in our class. our advanced teaching of mathematics course, we explored the NCTM process standards as well as the Common Core standards for mathematical practices. Helping students learn to communicate in the classroom appropriately can be a difficult task. However, after much exploration, I found it is an important skill for students to develop. In the past, I was guilty of thinking of communication as only verbal communication, but based on NCTM and mathematical practice explanations, I discovered different ways students can communicate and in turn promote deeper communication within the classroom. For example, Mathematical Practice 1, Making Sense of the Problem, students are using internal communication before communicating with others, while in Mathematical Practice 3, Constructing Viable Arguments and Critiquing Reasoning, students are encouraged to communicate verbally with each other by providing explanations for their own thinking and appropriately critiquing the ideas of others. I believe communication plays a large role in Piaget's thoughts on education. Students use communication, whether internally, verbally, or written, to make sense of the world around them, and should learn to adjust their ideas based on their experiences. In my math class, students are expected to communicate, make sense of the task, and communicate their ideas with others, and in turn make modifications to their original thinking. Teaching in a school with a large Latino and African American population, I found Dr. Wasserberg's course, Advanced Teaching of Diverse Learners, interesting and helpful. We spent some time exploring culturally responsive teaching. Gloria Latson-Billings describes culturally relevant pedagogy using 3 criteria. Students must experience success, students must develop and/or maintain cultural competence, and students must develop a critical consciousness through which they challenge the status quo of current social orders. Through exploring culturally relevant teaching and Latson-Billings' research findings, I found myself questioning my own classroom dynamic and environment. Culturally relevant teaching requires teachers to meet students' needs, not just make them feel good. Culturally relevant teachers also utilize students' culture to promote learning rather than ignoring cultural differences in the classroom. This unit led me to reflect on my own practices. I began to examine my own lessons and began searching for ways to use my students' cultural differences as a vehicle for teaching various concepts and topics. Through the use of our classroom global wall, I have learned new things about my students, and many of them have become more confident in sharing specific ideas or values of their culture or family. I hope obtaining my master's degree will lead me towards more leadership roles within my school and district. I have been given the opportunity to share some of my experiences with my colleagues and hope others will view me as a reliable resource within our school. Another goal of mine is to become a National Board Certified Teacher. I believe becoming a National Board Certified Teacher would demonstrate my commitment to education and striving for excellence in my classroom through improving my own practices. As previously mentioned, I have enjoyed my time working through the master's program at UNCW. I only mentioned a few of the significant learning events I have experienced. I fully believe this program has better prepared me to take on my classroom each day and provide my students with a well-rounded, rigorous, and enjoyable learning environment.